life is dynamic process which keeps going, keep moving, it keeps moving, and in order to keep something going on, we need energy. We know we keep changing our conditions, and we believe in changing our status from the one which we had previously compared to the present one. And we look forward to change the present condition with respect to our future perspectives. Earlier we stayed in bamboo houses, kacha houses. We believed a day shall come when we shall shift into a concrete house. We succeed in doing that. Earlier we had mud roads, kacha roads. Then we prospered, we succeeded and got the pitch roads or the concrete road, cement slab roads. Earlier we wore some ordinary dresses. Now we wear variety of fabrics. Earlier we had different ventilation systems or different wind regulating machines. Now we have different ones. Earlier we had ordinary fans. Now we have sophisticated and advanced fans. Earlier we didn't have LED fans. We now have LED fans. Earlier we had ordinary coolers, air coolers. Now we have smart sophisticated air coolers. Earlier we had no air conditioners. Then a time came we had air conditioners. We got air conditioners at certain point of time in past, and then air conditioners kept on changing years after. Earlier we had different refrigerating machines. Now we have different ones. Earlier CFC was used, chlorofluorocarbon. Now we have different freezing chemicals used in freezing machines like air conditioners and refrigerators. Earlier we had different two-wheelers of motor kind. Now we have different kinds. Earlier motorcycles were releasing huge amount of smoke as exhaust. Now we have motorcycles releasing nominal amount of exhaust, which is even unrecognizable. Life has changed, and change requires energy. Different kinds of works, everybody's attention. Different kinds of purposes, different kinds of works require differently suitable forms of energy, brothers and sisters. If I have a purpose to ride a bicycle, I need mechanical form of energy, right? I need muscular energy. If I want to glow a room, I need electrical energy, which is stored in the form of chemicals in the batteries or cells of my inverter battery. If I go to run a big bulldozer, I need heat energy in the blast cylinder of the machine of that bulldozer, which will then be converted into kinetic form of energy. The heat energy generates enormous amount of pressure into the blast cylinder where the piston moves, and with the amount of pressure that your engine experiences in the blast cylinder causes the piston to move, which is connected to another rotating wheel through a shaft or a connecting agent that causes the other gears to keep moving, and later those gears connect with the wheels and show the bulldozers move. Not just this, huge amount of electricity needs to be generated to cause propulsion to activation for the purposes of lifting heavy items, which is done by generating huge electromagnetic field there, and perhaps some other designs must have been used there. If we are to transform wheat into chapati, we require first of all muscular energy. We prepare the dough. That's done through physical process. That requires muscular energy. Then I don't believe any amount of muscular energy shall ever convert the dough into chapati. I am Bahubali, but still I'm not getting the chapati. अरे मांसपेशी की ताकत से रोटी का क्या कनेक्शन? But of course we can convert the wheat flour into dough, right? That requires heat energy, and heat energy then converts that into well-cooked chapatis. Then those chapatis are to be inhaled down our esophagus to the stomach. That requires mechanical energy in the mouth. Chewing, that's mechanical energy. And then mechanical energy puts that down to our stomach. So different changes. So these are a couple of things I invoked earlier. To bring about changes around you. To bring about changes around you, to create something or to destruct something, you require energy. There is no doubt about it. So energy is such an item which is extremely vital for human development, right? If we have energy crisis, we shall be in big problem for our future developments. Imagine the automobiles, the trucks, the bulldozers, the two-wheeler, the motorcycles, the auto rickshaws, the airplanes, the trains. These locomotives run using heat energy, and that heat energy is withdrawn from fuels such as diesel and petrol. And we understand very well, brothers and sisters, energy is found residing within matter. Energy stays inside something. All we need a certain situation, certain condition to liberate that energy out of that matter. The kerosene has heat energy within it. All we require a little bit of ignition temperature. It's going to burn up. The whole energy within kerosene shall then come liberated out. Swatantra ho jayega, and that shall come out in the form of heat. And when you withdraw energy from a given matter, from a given substance, whichever form you withdraw the energy in, that doesn't matter. Whether you withdraw energy in chemical form or else, but that matter transforms there. When kerosene is taken for the case so that you have to withdraw the energy, heat energy from kerosene, then kerosene remains no more after withdrawing heat out of it. When kerosene has heat within itself, then it is liquid. Brothers and sisters, pay your attention. When you withdraw heat out of kerosene, kerosene is no more kerosene. It is CO2 or CO. Carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide and gas. Right! But do we have the capability, brothers and sisters? Do we have the ability? Do we have the potential immediately right now to reverse the process? Do we have the capability to reverse carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and huge amount of carbon content in the form of smoke getting exhausted out when kerosene burns back to the form of kerosene by blending heat into it? Can we do it? That's not a possibility at all, right? We are given, come on, Pratibha, we are given a little bit of carbon dioxide. We are given a little bit of carbon monoxide and a little bit of dust of carbon, let's say smoke, right? And somebody raises the temperature of the room. Will that, the whole amount of substance we have, will that convert into kerosene? Not a possibility at all, right? That's natural process. So the energy which was in kerosene is no more in kerosene, it is now released in atmosphere, right? So that same energy, when is released in limited space, brothers and sisters, please take it seriously. When you burn 100 liters of kerosene, take it seriously. When you burn 100 liters of kerosene openly, that's going to raise huge amount of smoke, right? Huge amount of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, perhaps some other gases as well. But what if you burn the same quantity of kerosene in a small drum, in a small container, airtight, with limited supply of oxygen? You all know it very well that oxygen is highly required in burning kerosene. For combustion we need oxygen to burn anything. When you burn kerosene in open space, you have plenty of oxygen, that's sure. But if you burn 100 liters of kerosene in a drum with a volume of 105 liters, that means only 5 liters space is left out, what's going to happen? A big blast. Am I right? Because the whole amount of kerosene burns in limited space, so that small limited space enjoys enormous temperature, right? But the same amount of temperature out of 100 liters of kerosene is enjoyed by the whole atmosphere around, right? सब में अच्छा छिटा गया थोड़ा. But what if the kerosene is burned within a drum or a container of 105 liters? 5 लीटर का ना एटमॉस्फेयर मिला उतना हीट को एंजॉय करने के लिए, right? So in that process, the action of the heat, brothers and sisters, take it seriously. The action of the heat shall be frequent and spontaneous. In this, when 100 liters of kerosene is burned openly, it's obviously going to generate a little bit of raise in temperature. The nearby trees and plants shall have their leaves drying out in a couple of days, not immediately. The nearby ones shall immediately dry out and burn and transform into ashes, rock. But the ones all around shall get some abnormal amount of heat rise, so they will dry out after a couple of days. The action of the heat released here is gradual. Hope you are getting it. Slow, because the space is more. But if the action of the heat released out of 100 liters of kerosene is given to act upon a space of just 5 liters, means 5,000 cubic centimeter. 1 liter is 1,000 cubic centimeter. So only 5,000 cubic centimeter space has to bear the heat of 100 liters of kerosene. How dangerous this situation is going to be, right? So here the heat is released in limited space, therefore it's going to create tremendous pressure. Adbhut, dabav, and the pressure shall be all around, right? Therefore the container in which it burns will explode, blast ho jayega. And the person who sits above that drum shall be lifted very high, even if that person is of 500 kg. उड़ जाएगा कुर्सी के साथ. आ रहा है समझ में? So heat transforms into mechanical energy. Mechanical energy. It was in the chemical form in kerosene. Same thing is done in the engines of motorcycles and other vehicles. The heat energy, which is in the form of kerosene, needs to be used in such a form, energy cannot be created, energy cannot be destroyed. energy can be changed from one form to the other. The energy which is in the form of kerosene immediately can't be used by us. It has to be liberated out. उसको मुक्त करना पड़ेगा. So we burn it with a little bit of temperature, so it comes out. Now heat का क्या करें? हीट को जला दे बाइक के बगल में कि बाइक का चक्का घूमता रहे. उसको देही से कमाना है, ताप लगवाना है. अरे उसके सिलेंडर में लिमिटेड स्पेस में उसको ब्लास्ट करवाओ. वो जो बीच में बाइक के नीचे सिलेंडर होता है ब्लास्ट. अरे वो जो इंजन वाला. और अब इतना नहीं जाके वहां पे 1 लीटर जला देना एक बार में कि इंजन पूरा उड़ जाए पूरा गाड़ी के साथ. इसीलिए फुहारे की तरह बर्न्स एज स्प्रे. उसमें स्प्रे होता है कार्बोरेटर के माध्यम से, और वहां पे इलेक्ट्रिक जो स्पार्क प्लग होती है उसको बर्न करती है, और वो बार बार उसमें छिड़का जाता है तेल. ठीक है, और थोड़ा सा तेल छिड़का जा रहा है. लिमिटेड स्पेस है, 150 सीसी आप समझ ही लो, क्यूबिक सेंटीमीटर. मैं तो 1000 क्यूबिक सेंटीमीटर भी नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. कितना छोटा जगह है वो. 150 बस सीसी, जो बड़ी गाड़ियां हैं ओवरऑल की, मीडियम रेंज की, उसका चक्का 5 आदमी को खींच देता है. तो नाउ अगर इफ एनर्जी कैन नॉट बी डिस्ट्रॉयड एंड वी अंडरस्टैंड एनर्जी कैन नॉट बी created, so why people are scared of energy crisis for future? This is important question. If we have this theory that energy cannot be finished, it can be converted from one form to the other one, that's fine. So why are we scared of energy crisis that someday petroleum products will finish up, so we'll have no petroleum energy? Means chemical energy in the petroleum products like diesel and petrol and LPGs. The fact is this: the energy which we require in the foam may not be available in future. We need liquefied substance to spray in the motorcycle cylinder, the blast cylinder, so that it burns and then the vehicle starts moving. But the energy which is burned in the motorcycle is converted into kinetic energy, and some amount of heat is released through the silencer in the atmosphere, and a little bit of sound as well. Sound is another form of energy. We people, please forgive, can't use that form of sound energy to run vehicle again. We can't use the sprayed out temperature in the atmosphere back to run. Can we call the temperature, the heat which we have released in atmosphere back into the engine of the motorcycle? This is not possible. So the problem is this: the ideal form in which we require the energy and the substances in the ideal form which may give us energy in the ideal form may not exist in future. This is the biggest crisis which we are heading to, जिसकी ओर हम बढ़ रहे हैं. Brothers and sisters, we have designed our motor vehicles for liquid injection fuel, right? Injection होता है ना, and it burns in the vehicle. We have designed the electric fans, the electric motorcycles to run with electromagnetic field, which is generated by electric current. And brothers and sisters, electric current can only be generated when generators generate electricity, and generators generate electricity, or the dynamos generate electricity, Pratibha, when they move, when certain components within them move, and those components can only move when mechanical or kinetic energy is applied to those parts, right? So who shall bring that moving energy there? Something which already has a kinetic active energy, right? So that is done through different processes. One happens to be the energy which is by use of energy which is stored in coal. Coal also has heat energy within its koila. When it burns, the heat from the coal is released. But heat, the coal that we burn is not liquefied. It is a solid material. How can we inject coal into motorcycles? Right? And how can coal come out of silencers? So, what do? We liberate the heat from coals, and that heat is applied to a huge container of water, brothers and sisters. And that big container of water, enormous container of water, generate huge amount of steam bhaf. And that steam is released through controlled outlets. Controlled outlets, all right, which could be throttled nicely. उसका मुहाना ज़्यादा कम किया जा सकता है. When it is narrowed, the pressure shall be very high. When it is wider, it can go very easily out, the steam, right? So that steam moves out with enormous speed, because you know matters physically are composed of, brothers and sisters, molecules, and molecules have the tendency to move apart from one another once the abnormal heat is applied, right? With the application of heat, molecules of all the substances start moving. So molecules of water move as well. Heat is applied to huge container of water. Where is that heat? Heat is generated by burning coal. The energy is liberated from coal. Coal energy is brought into heat form, and heat energy is then applied to boil huge amount of water, and that huge amount of water experiences heat, and the molecules start moving into huge container. And believe me, when molecules move, they move very heavily with huge amount of speed, but they are secured through the walls of that container. कंटेनर की जो दीवार है उससे सिक्योर करके तो निकल भी नहीं पा रहे. So there may be some small releasing outlets through which the molecules now are in the form of steam. They release, and wherever they release, let's say if they release here through this outlet, right? They would do this impact. Got it? So they would do this. So they can press it forward, right? And if we have such a lot of spoke-like items, they are structures, so they can start moving like the turbines with the, and it is now connected to the dynamo, and then dynamo starts moving, generating electricity, and electricity then rotates our fans and other items. Or the same amount of energy is stored in batteries in the form of chemical energy. So brothers and sisters, what I mean to say is that the form of energy which we require happens to be ideally the heat form, mechanical or muscular form, mechanical form. Alright, so now we can say the electricity energy that we have in the form of power is brought from the energy of the coal, right? The heat is liberated from coal. And now this fan runs. So it generates mechanical energy, kinetic form. It is causing the air to move. So when energy transforms from one form to the other, changes are brought about. When coal burns, heat is generated out, coal transforms into ashes. बदलाव आ गया ना? When the same heat is applied to water, water transforms into steam. बदलाव आ गया. when it then comes into contact of that turbine rotator, it causes it to move. Changes आ गया, change in the state. It was earlier in the state of rest, now it is moving. Then it goes on to generate electricity, and electricity causes things to run, even music systems. It now comes out in the form of sound energy. So now we summarize today's discussion here, that we have issues with energy crisis in future, which could be of the forms such as, or which could be of the characteristics as such. We may not get ideal form of substances to withdraw energy first. If we do even have ideal form of substances, let's say in liquid form, to withdraw energy, those substances may not be available in abundance, in huge amount, causing those substances to be extremely expensive, perhaps maybe like gold. क्या पता भविष्य में पेट्रोल सोने के दाम में बिके, और पता चले हमारे जिंदगी में कहाँ है भाई, नाना और मामा के घर जाके आना, इतना पैसा कहाँ है, गाड़ी तो चल ही नहीं सकती. Only rich people could go. और हवाई जहाज का यात्रा तो सपना हो जाएगा, तेल इतना दाम महंगा हो जाएगा. So therefore, scientists are working out to find out ways so that you could actually use the substances in those forms which are available in abundance and huge quantity, so that they could liberate energy out of those. Meanwhile, we require competent technology as well, ideal technology to withdraw energy. किसी ने कहा this is X substance, it has enormous amount of energy, but we people do not have technology to withdraw energy out of it. किसी ने कहा सूरज के रोशनी में बहुत एनर्जी, obviously it's solar energy. Hundreds of years back, we did not know photoelectric effect. You could study these things in senior classes later. By the understanding of the effect of photon particles on matter and effect on the electrons, we generated photoelectric cells, the solar plates, the solar charges, which convert the solar light into electrical energy, and that electrical energy is stored in the batteries. But imagine many years back, when we had no technology as such, right? The same light was existing, right? The sunlight was still existing then, but we could not make any amount of it. We could not make most of it like we do here now. By the advancement of technology, by upgradation of science, perhaps, who knows, in future we may generate energy from water, because water is in huge amount. We have 71% of water on Earth's surface. Of course, we are not having fresh water in abundance, but we have saline water, marine water, sea water. But who knows, in future we can have technology which could transform, withdraw energy, because hydrogen is present in water, and hydrogen is highly combustible. It can burn, with causing huge heat to liberate out of it. Hydrogen जब जलता है तो बहुत गर्मी निकलती है. But to separate hydrogen from water is an expensive process. बहुत महंगा खर्चीला तरीका है. उस तरह से हाइड्रोजन निकलेगा तो आते आते हाइड्रोजन इतना महंगा हो जाएगा कि कोई कहेगा कि ऐसा हमको नहीं चाहिए ईंधन. एंड who knows there may be safety issues, सुरक्षा के मामले हो जाएं, like hydrogen is highly combustible, so that may cause even couple of times the engine to burn up, right? इंजन ही चला दे. So scientists are working out to find out ways. अरे बच्चों ध्यान देना. Find out ways. So now we summarize today's discussion with these conclusions that we know energy can be transformed from one form to another, and energies do not get wasted out. But still we are scared of energy crisis because energy shall not be available in those forms which we require, right? This is the first point. Second, we may not have those substances in future which could ideally be used to liberate energy as the form of the kerosenes and the petrols, right, etc. Or even the LPG gases, LCNG gases. And let's say suppose we would have all of these two options, but the available substances go on to be very expensive, बहुत खर्चीला महंगा. Therefore, any substance can be called the source of energy. Energy की स्रोत, source means स्रोत जिससे कुछ निकलता है. When it is economically feasible, आर्थिक दृष्टि से किफायती हो, available in huge quantity. We have scientific technology in hand to liberate energy out of it. हमारे पास वैज्ञानिक तकनीक हो कि इमीडिएटली एनर्जी निकालने का तरीका हो. आज इंजन बनाए तब ना हम केरोसिन को कुछ समझते हैं, नहीं तो उसको हम गोबर के बराबर भी नहीं समझते. डीजल इंजन बना तो डीजल का यूज हुआ, नहीं तो मुँह ना ताकते रह जाते. कोयला को पहाड़ बन के छोड़ देते अगर कोयला को जलाने नहीं जानते. प्यारे बच्चों, तो आज की कुल मिला के कहानी समझ में आ गई. बिकॉज कल से मंडे से रूटीन फॉलो होने वाला था. एक ओवरऑल मैं पर्सपेक्टिव दे रहा हूँ, एक सेल्फ स्टडी कैसे करना चाहिए वो ध्यान रखना. तो आज के कुछ क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे, मैं लिख दूंगा बोर्ड पे. कि ऊर्जा यानी एनर्जी इतनी संकट की विषय क्यों है? Why is it a matter of crisis for future? ये बात को देखते हुए कि एनर्जी को ना हम समाप्त कर सकते हैं, ना खत्म कर सकते हैं, ना निकाल सकते हैं, तो हम बोलेंगे भाई एनर्जी को हमने एक फॉर्म से दूसरे फॉर्म में निकाल के एटमॉस्फेयर में पहुंचा दे, क्या उस हीट को रिवर्स करके ला सकते नहीं? तो इसी प्रकार के कुछ क्वेश्चंस दिए जाएंगे ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स, आपको आंसर्स लिख के लाने. थैंक यू.